In the late 90s, my family moved to a quiet country home on the outskirts of Basin City, Washington. We had lived there for about a year and a half, and my dad had finally had enough of the city. It was a beautiful old farmhouse with a big yard, perfect for my two little sisters and I to explore. But as soon as the sun went down, we weren't allowed outside. My dad said it was too dangerous with all the wild animals that could attack us, even though we were in a fairly populated area, because almost every night we would hear the sound of little girls crying, and the weirdest part was they always seemed to be coming from my sister's room. One night we were woken up to what sounded like horseshoes on the roof. I was just staring at the door listening, and then my dad came in to check on me. It was like someone had pressed the pause button on a movie. At first I thought he was joking, but then I realized his eyes were wide open and he wasn't breathing. It felt like forever, but maybe it was only a few seconds. I don't know, but eventually, he just slumped over and hit his head on the floor. He didn't believe in ghosts or anything like that, and he always brushed off my stories as an overactive imagination. But that night he must have been tired because he just nodded off right next to me. It was definitely coming from outside because my dad was sitting right next to me and he didn't stir at all. Later that week, while my sisters and I were playing in the yard, we saw something strange. Buried in the dirt was an old horseshoe. We moved out 3 months after we moved in, and even to this day, I can still hear the crying of those little girls. I remember because I picked it up and showed it to my mom, and she got really upset and told us to get rid of it. She said it was bad luck to have a horseshoe in your yard. I remember squeezing my eyes shut and burying my face into his shoulder, trying to block out the sound. Then, just as suddenly as it started, it stopped. But whenever we heard the crying, we would always look at each other and then back at the door just in case. The next morning, we all went outside to investigate, but we didn't find anything. Well, we never did find out where it came from or who put it there, but it definitely didn't help with whatever was going on at night. Now keep in mind, my sisters and I shared a room, but our beds were in opposite corners so we couldn't see each other. One night I asked my mom what was making the noise. She told me it was probably just some kids playing, but then I told her that the noise was coming from our room. That's when she told me, whatever you do, do not go in that room. I was too scared to ask any more questions, but my curiosity was definitely piqued. I remember staying up late one night and hearing the crying again. And then suddenly, right in the middle of a prayer, he just stopped moving. Needless to say, we didn't stick around long enough to find out what was going on.